Good evening, YouTube. This is Darth Fishes, and this is my review for Star Wars Tarkin. And I'm going to say just 3 words. This was awesome. It was an awesome book. I cannot tell you enough. I read this book in about 3 days. I read the first 11 chapters on Sunday, or Saturday rather. I read, or the first 10 chapters, on Saturday. Read chapters 11 to 20 on yesterday. And today I read the last 2 chapters, and I'm not going to lie, James Luceno is awesome. After reading this book, I wish that the story group at Disney and Lucasfilm would make Darth Plagueis canon again, because, let's face it, James Luceno is an incredible author. Having said that, the book was not flawless, but I'll get into that later. I'm going to be breaking this review into 3 parts. Part 1 is going to be overall thoughts. Part 2 is going to be pros. Part 3 is going to be cons. So with that in mind, let's get to it. Overall thoughts. Tarkin was incredible. To show his backstory the way they did, and the working relationships he had with Darth Vader before the Clone Wars, which was rocky at best. This, of course, went before Darth Vader was Darth Vader. His rise in the political ranks and being hand-chosen by then Senator Palpatine just showed that he was a man worthy of respect. He was a very intelligent individual and seemed to always outmaneuver his adversaries, and I give that to his training by his uncles on his homeworld of Ariadu. With that in mind, there was a lot of mention made about the Death Star and the problems they had with building it, the delays, and then of course the Clone Wars era guys who were still fighting the Clone Wars even after they were over. One of the guys' names was Teller, and then of course there was a member of Naval Intelligence that was part of this group, Vice Admiral Rancid. Excuse me. Teller's group, of course, their goal was to spark a flame of rebellion against the Empire, which normally I'm rooting for, but in this book I saw it more of a in-story nuisance than anything. I'm not calling it a nuisance, as that whole plot was enjoyable. With that in mind, Tarkin, his relationship with Vader, so much better during the rise of the Empire, and then his relationship with Palpatine, awesome. Throughout the book, Tarkin was piecing together that at one point Darth Vader was former Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, and that Darth Vader was the apprentice of Emperor Palpatine. Again, an extremely intelligent individual. The story took place in the same timeline as a book that I read last year, Lords of the Sith, which was also a good book, but I'm assuming happened before Lords of the Sith. My pros: the relationship between Palpatine, Tarkin, and Vader is my number 5 pro. I thought that was very well written, and it showed that there was a respect between Vader and Tarkin, and of course the very close friendship between Palpatine and Tarkin. Number 4, the backstory on Tarkin, which was mentioned in bits every chapter, and really showed why he was the man that he was, and really made me respect Tarkin more than I had already. Number 3 in my pros list was just Tarkin, Palpatine, and Vader idealizing their cause with the Empire of promoting progress, peace, prosperity for all members. And of course, who can forget number 2, which is just Tarkin's intelligence. I mean, there's not really much I can say more than that. His intuition could mirror that of a Jedi, and he wasn't even Force sensitive, so there was that. And then, of course, number 1, the plot of the book. The plot of the book was incredible. This was probably one of my favorite books, plot-wise. Now, on to my cons. The number 5 is the group of dissidents that were former Republic military intelligence. I mentioned 2 of the members, and their group being spearheaded by a naval intelligence asset. That was a very minor con. Number 4, the another minor con was the backstory. All these cons are going to be extremely minor because this book was so well written. Number 3 was the character of Jova Tarkin. He kind of felt like he was overshadowing the story a little bit too much. Number 2 was the constant mention of the Clone Wars, because they had been long over. This story takes place 5 years before A New Hope, so it had been over for more than a decade, but yet they kept referencing it, and it kind of grated on me a little bit, I guess. And of course, number 1 would have to be Mas Amedda. He was a character I wasn't very fond of in the prequels, and for him to make his way back into canon in a novel just kind of threw me off a little bit. Other than that, this book was amazing. And again, I wish they would put James Luceno's Plagueis novel back into canon, because Luceno is just an amazing author. Now, with that in mind, my overall letter grade, I'm giving this book a big old A+. This was the first book that I've given a big old A+ to. Having said that, my review on Battlefront Twilight Company is up. The next book review I'm going to be doing is Chuck Wendig's Life Debt, or Aftermath Aftermath Life that I'm still waiting to get it from the library, so it'll be a while. With that in mind, hit some other fun content in the planning stages, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure to subscribe. Leave your feelings in the comments or in the comment section below, but please keep your comments civil, and I will do my best to answer them. Also, I have some wrestling themed content that I am working on for my other channel. It is called Sling Blade Productions. If you guys are wrestling fans, go make sure to check out that channel as well. I've already got a lot of content on that channel. I'll leave a link to that channel in the description so you guys can check that out. With that in mind, got a trailer review coming up Friday, so be on the lookout for that. It's teaser trailer number 2 for Rogue One. Celebration's coming up, so make sure to watch that on YouTube. I'm sure they'll be streaming the whole thing live. And with that in mind, it's late. I'm out. May the Force be with you always.